It's the March 2024 show with Barb from Dover Apothecary and Healthy, Wealthy, and Wise. Barb, this subject we're talking about today, I know that you wanted to talk to me about it because it fits me. It's like aging to perfection. Thank you for finally admitting that there's just nothing
Well,
you can do for this body anymore. You've did it all. It works like a time machine perfectly, but you do want to bring up the Metabolic Balance Program, which I always find very interesting. We've talked about this before, but it always intrigues me because you were saying you have one of your first male clients and you're working on this with them and they're seeing huge results. So
right.
here's your pitch to all us guys to make sure we understand what we should be doing properly.
All right. So Metabolic Balance is a program that I brought into my practice about 3 years ago. Now, the training for the program is excellent. But as coaches, before we are allowed to coach anybody else, we have to actually experience the program ourselves. And that means from start to finish. And the changes for myself were absolutely amazing. For all of the clients I've had join the program thus far, the weight loss ends up being just like a happy side effect because it's the other metabolic changes and the overall wellness that ends up being the most incredible thing. So, inflammation levels, mental health, pain pain levels. So, you know, my husband, he's my first male client, and it's not something I had wished that he would join me on this program a little while ago, but any type of major life change where you really have to commit to that, it can't be at the impetus of somebody else. It has to be something that you desire for yourself. And so with this program, he started his cleanse day on January 28th. And this morning he weighed himself and he's down 14.2 pounds. So that was just like, okay, a little jealous, gotta say, as a female, sometimes it's a little slower. But yeah, he is just rocking this. And, one of the things within 3 nights, I noticed he wasn't snoring as much. He's had a problem with bunions in his left foot, and that's been plaguing him for 4 or 5 years now. And if anybody has experienced bunions, they know that those can be really, really impactful because, I mean, it's your feet, you're walking, you're moving, and it's always hurting. So within 3 days, his bunion suddenly isn't flaring up on him anymore. And so then you imagine, well, then your activity level picks up because you're not being inhibited by pain. So it's all of these metabolic processes that are, it's like a light bulb goes on because you don't see the association between your food, what you're fueling your body with, and what's actually happening within all 50 of those metabolic hormones in your body. And that's what this program has perfected. So the doctors in Germany discovered this through science, and everybody will have their blood work done. So I have a requisition for my clients for their blood work. It's not my name on it, it's the doctor for the program, their name on it. So that goes in. We do body measurements. We go over health history. So the first consult, if somebody decides to undertake the program, is fairly lengthy, but all of that detail, once their blood work comes back, everything is submitted and that goes off to the doctors in Germany. And the plan gets created specifically for that person. So it's just real food, but certain things resonate at the cellular level of our bodies with a perfection, with an ease. And when the body's not having to clean up damage, then that's when our metabolic function all is optimized. And as we get older, of course, I mean, I'll be 60 this year. Brian was 62 in December, and we want to be healthy. I want to be vital and healthy. I want to be a good commercial in my practice for the people that I serve and care so deeply about. So, seeing what's happening with my husband, and it's exciting that he's my first male client because, you know, couples want one another to be robust and healthy. We don't want that expectation of disease, those chronic issues that plague, global society nowadays. Most of those are self-inflicted through a lack of knowledge about what we're doing on a day-to-day basis. And that's what really, really lights me up about this program.
Did your husband find it difficult for the changes in his diet? Was it extreme changes or was it a gradual change? Like, give me a little bit of an idea about that process because all of a sudden you're getting this report back and you're like, oh, we need to shift your diet this way, just a little bit more, get away from those other things. Was that hard, or is that something that, I mean, like you said, you got to be ready for change. You got to commit, right?
Yes.
That's the big
Yeah.
part, the mental aspect to it. But once you start feeling
Right.
better, all roads lead. And some foods don't taste as good. I found when I was like, yeah,
Hmm.
this isn't healthy. And after you don't have it for a while, you're like, yeah, it doesn't really taste that great, right? Was he going through that?
Right.
Just curious.
The first 16 days of the program, that's you're in the strict phase. Those are That's the time period where the magic starts to happen. And it can't happen unless your body understands that something big has shifted. So I would say that the first couple of days, there might have been a little bit of testiness and irritability. Part of that is his change in coffee consumption. He was a big black coffee drinker. And suddenly that wasn't, the coffee it was allowed at mealtime, but not something that you could just, have your giant mug of coffee and just sip on it throughout the workday. So I suspect that that was for him. But the interesting thing is that he didn't necessarily feel hungry throughout this. And we've always chosen good, healthy foods, but we didn't necessarily know what balance was best for his body. So you are weighing foods the first week. They encourage that so that you can actually look at a plate and see what your plate should look like. But they don't recommend weighing the food beyond that, right? They want you to have it become sort of an innate type of thing that you just have this relationship to know what it should look like. And, he has said that if I wasn't helping him with this. He doesn't think he could do it on his own, which I appreciate his honesty, especially from that male perspective. A lot of males are comfortable in the kitchen. My husband will do anything else in the house. He'll do, vacuum, laundry, that, but he doesn't pretend to be somebody that likes to be in the kitchen. So we do work together more in the kitchen so that he's more hands on. Uh, it's I mean, it's basic food. There are no magic shakes. It's not somebody else's products. It's just real food. We've always eaten real food. It was the other vices of life. He likes a beer, but it wasn't always just one beer. So it's little things like having two bites of protein at the start of your meal, and it changes the entire physiology of your body, causes your pancreas to release glucagon. It doesn't stimulate the production of insulin. And I'm like, what? None of my other studying over the years has explained that. And I'm just like, and vegetables are actually carbohydrate, not just your potatoes and your carrots, but all vegetables are actually a carbohydrate. So it's just like, okay, yeah. So change wise, it's definitely a commitment, but it's literally your blueprint for life. And it's simply the optimal fueling food for your body. Nothing magic about it. Your body understands what to do with it, and those metabolic processes are simply optimized. So that reduces inflammation. The weight loss, as I said, is just a happy side effect because if that basal metabolic rate isn't somewhere in a box in your basement, but it's actually perking away like it should, then the body takes care of these. So, yes, a little bit of irritability at the start, a different relationship with hunger. you're looking forward to the next meal.
Ah,
There's the odd meal that you kind of feel like you're gonna tuck into like a Wolverine, but, it's just understanding that the hunger's not an emergency. And
gotcha.
because people have done meal, snack, meal, snack, meal, snack, that's been indoctrinated into our brains
It's
for
in our
quite
school.
some time now. But you'll end up, if you have a meal and don't start your next one until 5 hours later, and same thing for your dinner, then your blood sugar levels aren't constantly doing this on you. They're not on a roller coaster. And that can be a big adjustment for people. But man, like, what a difference. Like, my mom, she is 82. She's oftentimes comes to stay with us for a while when she's not living with my sister. And she's mimicking. She doesn't have her own plan, but she's been mimicking what we've been doing while she's here. And yesterday morning, she wakes up and she's like, look at my fingers. And, they're not stiff on her. She's not having trouble with her hips and her knees. And just that mental acuity, seeing that she's more alert and that type of thing, you know that this program takes people places that they didn't think they could get back to.
One more question, and we could leave this for another show too, if you want to just give me a little quiz on it. But you mentioned back there about proteins first. Kind of caught me off guard too. Wasn't aware of this.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
proteins are so different in so many different forms.
Right.
What are some healthy proteins? And I don't eat red meats anymore. I don't eat, you know what I mean?
Right.
So
Yeah.
what are you talking here? Because I think there's that
Mhm.
part does my system doesn't do well with that part anymore. But what are you talking about as far as healthy when you said proteins first? Let's give some examples.
Okay. All right. So, and I'm glad you brought that up, Dave, actually, because, there are many people that live many different forms of lifestyles, whether through necessity or just that is their preference. So the fact that you do not eat red meat is something we would put on the information that
Oh,
goes to those doctors, and then that's not included in your plan. They choose other protein sources for you. The only people that we cannot create a plan for are those that are pregnant and nursing, or those that are true vegan. Okay, so vegetarian we can do, all, lacto
yeah.
ovo vegetarian. But as far as protein sources, eggs. Eggs are a protein. You've got your poultry, so your chicken and your turkey, other types of fowl. Those are proteins. We have our nuts and seeds, so almonds and walnuts, and we've got our sunflower seeds, and the spectrum of those. Those are a protein, and of course your red meat. Not a lot of people I find have pork on their program. There are a few that will, and your fish. Fish is another protein. And so just learning, even your good quality yogurt. So we're not talking your fat free and with sugar and all of that, but goat yogurt specifically, because there's not a lot of dairy on people's diets in this program. And a lot of it will oftentimes be more goat product than dairy, although, some people are a blend. So again, it's tailored individually. It is a lot to do with, what shows up as your inflammatory levels and all of that. But there's lots of room to individualize this to your needs and your lifestyle. And yeah, so protein, 2 bites first. You can try it. Doesn't cost
Yeah.
anybody to try that at a meal. If you do enjoy a drink with your meal, 2 bites of protein first. If you're out unexpectedly, carry a handful of raw almonds with you. Just having that little shift so that suddenly you're not spiking your insulin is a massive change for your system.
Hmm.
So yeah, I look
Didn't know that.
forward. My new website will be
Yes,
up
give us some
soon.
info.
I've got
Oh,
a real person working on that, not me and my husband ready to punch each other in the throat trying to do it ourselves. And So I look forward to sharing that with everybody. But yeah, I invite people to, reach out if they want to learn more about this program and how it can be the best thing you've ever done for yourself, because it will give you a blueprint for life. And we can age to our own unique perfection,
All right,
and it is possible.
give us email address that
So
works
it's
for you.
Barb at
Yeah.
healthywellandwise.ca. Can also reach me by text or phone call at 519-410-3544. And yeah, website will be up soon, folks. So I'll make sure I put that in the article for everybody in the magazine. And yeah,
All right.
exciting stuff.
A really interesting conversation. I think maybe down the road we'll do one just on proteins because I don't think it's a misnomer. People don't really
Mhm.
understand it, and when you're explaining it
No.
that way, wow, what a difference
Hmm.
it's going to make to your body just doing that first. I'm going to definitely give
Yep.
that a try and see how it works out.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
thanks for doing this
Exactly.
today.
You're welcome. You're welcome, Dave. I look forward to it.